See if it's, yeah, see if it's working.
It's in my storage. No, it's up. Once it's here. Yeah, I mean, you just want. That's good. Yeah, basically, yeah. No, it'll be fun.
All right, thanks.
Oh, good.
All right, how you doing?
Good, everything.
All right.
That's it.
So your family owns, cousins of, is it Stan?
How about you?
Buckshot Farms?
Yes.
Okay.
You can-
Yes.
Yeah, they-
Either way, oh my God, I know, every time I go to his house, I stop on the way there. For my gut stuff. Yes.
I mean, store stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just, and the ice cream.
Yes. I know, it's so good.
Yeah.
Hereby announce and state that adequate notice of this meeting was provided by a virtual resolution scheduling the time, date, and place of the meeting of the Borough Council, Borough of Morris Plains, for the year 2026. Which resolution was adopted by the Borough Council on January 6, 2026, and published in the Morris Newsday and Daily Record. And by posting of such resolution on the bulletin board, the Borough Hall, and website. No action be appointed to NJSA 10:4-77. Please join me for the pledge of allegiance and prayer.
The United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, we ask you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that in fulfilling their public trust, every deliberation will result in actions that will promote the common good and general welfare. So, Mr. members of the governing body and borough staff, the use of electronic devices during this meeting shall be used solely for the purpose of borough business. Roll call, please.
Mayor Carr.
Present.
Mr. Green. Mr. Houston.
Present.
Mr. Ivy.
Present.
Ms. Coogan. Present. Mr. Pontier.
Present.
Ms. Serna.
Conference.
Not this evening, Mayor.
I do. So the council, you see in front of you, I handed out, a draft of the, sorry. The council will see that I handed out a draft of the, audiovisual upgrades, for the council chambers. In short, there's a few things that we do here. I did review this with the mayor, and, forgot. Yes, the mayor, Jesh and I, reviewed this. They made some comments. This reflects, their comments, on that, and just kind of highlighting some of the updates here. In this proposal would be a new 75-inch display. We repurposed the 40-inch display that's over there. We'd update all the microphones to wired microphones, including the ones that are out there in the public and for the professionals. We would install 2 new cameras. They're called PTZ, Pentel Zoom cameras. The ceiling, one facing the dais, one facing the public. There'd be a new audio system, which includes new speakers, amplifier, DSP, which is a audio processor. It would have the ability to live stream and record from on YouTube. And then one of the key features of the system is that it needs to comply with the court system. So the recording system that they use is the FTR Gold recording software, so that would be included as part of this. There's some specifics for IT, specifically about the type of switches. Again, we're very specific about what switches we need. And then, of course, we have to work through the cooperative contract. So just a reminder that we did approve $70,000 in the budget for the system. This is not, we haven't actually gone out to get pricing yet, but this is the proposal that once we put it in final form, the intent is to send this out as an RFQ. So take a look at it. If you have any questions now, I'm happy to answer them. But if you have any questions, please let me know.
So I do, we did talk about it in that meeting, cable bill. I didn't see that in the update.
Sorry.
Upgrade to, broadband.
Yes, so currently we have, I believe the borough has a 1 gig, I'll say, the ISP provides 1 gig of network, which is fine for what everybody's doing with computers, but we would need to upgrade that to a higher band. It goes from 1 gig plus up to, I forget what the, whatever the ISP says, basically, I think it's Verizon that comes in here, whatever it is that comes in, they have a next level. So we would have to upgrade the internet speed to that next level. So that would be part of this proposal.
The cost of what we're paying now and what that upgrade is.
Correct.
It's already expensive now.
Correct.
And just from our conversation,
Right.
it's about $2,000.
So I don't know what they were saying, but yes, that would be a part of the proposal.
Yes, you can get that information.
Yep. But this, just to be clear, this doesn't include any pricing currently. This is just what we're gonna send out for pricing. So part of that is the exercise that we are gonna get the pricing upgrade. Any other questions?
Once, I know this is your cup of tea, so which is awesome that you're getting it up. Once we do approve, what does the process look like for them, like coming in here and doing the upgrades?
Yeah, so we would put this bill of materials together, right? We would set it out to bid. Ideally, what we would do is we would have any interested companies come in and take a look at the system, right? So they're not just bidding on it blind, and then they would provide a proposal.
What, I mean, like, does it take like a week, like, to do, like, to set it up, I guess, or is it like quick, or?
Yeah, I mean, once
I'm just curious, yeah, it's nothing.
once we put it out there, they respond back, and then we open it up, say, hey, typically, my full-time job, I would call it a bid walk, right? We said the date and time, and then we come in, they would all come in, they walk around, so we like to explain yourselves once.
Yeah.
And then,
You mean the actual.
Well,
the
I mean,
actual-
I guess, like,
oh.
yeah, but like, even so, though, I mean, but it sounds like, no, it wouldn't be long, I mean, which is
no,
kind of.
it's, like I said, it's, it is running a couple new wires. We did talk to, NCC about, basically what their access there, how they have their base downstairs, with the network. But yeah, it would take probably start to finish. I mean, once we procure all the parts, it probably take a week.
I'm just thinking in the summer, but even a month could be a great time.
Yeah, depending on how quickly we get through it, yeah, absolutely.
You got a couple meetings before you.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking. Okay, that's it, yeah.
The one thing that was concerning to me is, I expressed that to you at the meeting, is having the clerk running the meeting also operate the cameras. That's appropriate, their job is to do that. Part of it, that's more important to me than operating the cameras. Yep. Maybe a cross.
Well, and that's part of what's in this proposal. Also, if you read through it, it also includes I think it did at least one, it may have been up to, I think I did, there's a series of training sessions in here. So you train the staff that's here on how to operate in case somebody had to come in and we didn't have a person available.
I think that's an issue. No, I mean,
I'm sorry, forgive me. Can everybody please talk into the mic? Very hard to hear you.
Much better.
I think once we see what's involved with technology, like if you're pressing a button to start the recording, depending on how technically involved it is, would determine what I said.
no, it's switching cameras.
Okay.
Somebody there is talking about this camera, right, this camera, so it's more just stop.
Okay, and then,
So can you confirm?
So it really depends on how we set everything up as part of the discussion, right? We can set the system up so that you can just have a wide angle camera that just stays wide angle and catches everybody for the entire meeting. All you gotta do is hit record and you're good to go. If, for example, if there's court sessions and they wanted to do, they had somebody to operate it where they wanted to do, they're called tight shots, right, on somebody's head or something like that, yes, you can. The intent is to make it as easy as possible so that you can press one button, it records, and we're good.
What we do just a couple of, there's two cameras, right? There's two different angles. What you're talking about now. So that would require somebody to switch the camera. Not just turn it on, that's it. Switching the cameras and paying attention to what's going on. Who's talking.
Exactly, if we need that. We may not need that for everything.
and then the other thing that the mayor mentioned is about the gigabytes of bandwidth. That would not be in here, because this would be the person installing the technology itself, right, not the actual Verizon.
That would be
Correct.
It's a correlation, but it's not exactly in this document.
Correct. So the intent, my intent, is to gather all the costs that are included in this, right? So you're right. Updating the speed here is a cost that the borough will have to incur, but it's not something that the vendor just provides.
Which is why it's not.
Correct.
First of all, thank you. This is amazing and it's like gibberish to me. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I was gonna ask, is there an advantage? I know the cable is gonna be an issue, but is there an advantage for the rest of the borough to have an updated speed for our technology moving forward? Like, what are the advantages of, I know it's gonna cost us something, but does it help the computers? Does it help our programs to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So just, and I'm speaking based on my years of experience in the industry, right? But we do have a professional here that can, or professional at the borough that can speak to it, more in depth. But yes, nowadays, whether you're doing, Zoom on your computers, which the borough does, right? They do all that. The police department uses it, the fire department uses it, across the driveway there, right? So yes, it is advantageous, not just for what we're doing here, but
entire building. But just,
Yeah, correct.
the borough is efficient running the way it is. This is just for the streaming and extra broadband for streaming, not any attic or computer. It's strictly the streaming.
The live streaming of the video.
Yeah, we need the upgrade.
I just find it interesting though, because people are taking their time every single week or every single time we have a meeting to come and volunteer. So it does seem like something that the town would want.
Yeah, so just actually a note on that, when we talked to the IT guys, he actually noticed that during council meetings, that there are members of the public who connect their devices to the guest Wi-Fi, and they actually have to open up the bandwidth at that time in order to allow the streaming to happen. So it's not automatic, something that doesn't happen on the back end automatically, he actually has to, he set a rule in our system to be able to do that, but it's not something that was turned on automatically, and he has to kind of manage that throughout the week as they go on. So there are, as technology grows, as the usage grows, there's definite advantages. It's inevitable at some point the world will have to update their internet. Yes, this kind of pushes it forward, but it's going to happen at some point.
And then my last question, I'll just talk loud because I'm a loud talker. Do other municipalities in the area already stream and do this?
Yes,
They do,
Yes, they
so all of them except us?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Is it a requirement?
Not all of them.
Just about.
Okay.
So, is it a requirement? So it's required that the meeting is recorded, right? But is it a requirement that it's streamed? No, but they do it as a convenience to the residents. Morris Township does it. Morris Township's been doing it for years. They have a TV station that will get what's
I
that?
remember as a kid, Channel 3.
Yeah, Channel 3. All the surrounding towns do. We are one of the ones who don't.
So if we didn't have our wonderful volunteers doing it, who would be recording this meeting right now?
So there's an audio recording that goes on. But there is no but there is no video recording, there's no public recording that's being live streamed out to the public. Outside of the volunteers.
Yeah, thank you.
Kelly, do you have anything?
I don't, not tonight, thank you.
Okay, so I'm here tonight on behalf of the Green Team to talk about the New Jersey Highlands Council and an opportunity we have to get some data and information about how land use development in Morris Plains impacts clean drinking water we consume. New Jersey Highlands region supplies drinking water for more than 70% of New Jersey residents. This region includes important environmental resources such as rivers, streams, wetlands, forests, rural landscapes, and great small towns like Morris Plains. In 2004, the Highlands Water Protection and Planning Act was passed to protect these critical natural resources in small towns. And the Highlands Council was created and charged with developing a regional master plan to protect these resources. There are 88 municipalities in the New Jersey Highlands region. 5 are in what's called the preservation area. Those are required to comply with the regional master plan because of their proximity to the water sources. 36 municipalities are in the planning area, including Morris Plains. The remaining 47 towns have land in both the preservation and planning areas. So of the 36 in the planning area, 25 already voluntarily comply with the Highlands Regional Master Plan. In Morris County, these include Harding, the Chesters, Mountain Lakes, Parsippany, Rockaway Township, Roxbury Township, and Washington Township. Compliance means these municipalities have revised their local master plans and developed regulations that align with the goals and provisions of the Highlands Regional Master Plan. So those provisions will protect things like forested areas, wetlands, stream beds, and they will direct growth to appropriate areas. So I'm here tonight to have a discussion about considering an initial assessment to determine what this voluntary compliance would look like for Morris Plains. In general, compliance means that our zoning regulations, including permitted uses, our setbacks, bulk standards, would remain the same. But in certain areas of the borough, there might be stricter regulations that could apply to things like water availability and consumption, septic density when they're building a development, stormwater regulations and water quality, steep slopes, wetlands, forest disturbance, habitat, impacts, etc. A preliminary map that they prepared, the Highlands prepared in Morris Plains, shows that 90% of our land in Morris Plains falls into what they call an existing community zone, which is land that's generally viewed as the preferred location for development or redevelopment in the Highlands. So that's places where we already have water and sewer infrastructure. About 9% of Morris Plains is classified as environmentally constrained subzone in an existing community zone. So this land would be treated more restrictively because it contains significant habitat, forests, steep slopes, etc. About a little less than 2% of Morris Plains land falls into a protection zone, which means it is classified as a forest reserve area, critical habitat, it's got open water buffers, etc. These are location and property specific. It wouldn't be like an entire acre probably, and they would be highly protected from development under the Highlands if we were to comply with their master plan. So overall, there's Highlands regulations don't apply to single-family home renovations generally, or the development of one or two new single-family homes. And it doesn't apply to commercial developments that create less than 1/4 of an acre of impervious surface. And there's other exemptions. But why would we consider going through an initial assessment? So in February of this year, I met with Mayor Carr and our borough planner, Liz Laney, to ask Liz about this because she's done this for other towns. And she said, there's no harm, it doesn't hurt to do an initial assessment, a very detailed look at Morris Plains land use, what available land we have, our resources, etc. She said some municipalities, after conducting the detailed assessment, decide to comply and pursue compliance, and some do not. But this is an opportunity to investigate, and it's fully funded by the New Jersey Highlands Council. It's reimbursed 100%. She's very familiar with the process, and she's worked with Mountain Lakes and Netcom doing this, both move forward with compliance. So once the borough would receive a full compliance, a full assessment report and impact study, there's not any obligation to move forward with compliance. It's an assessment. It gives us information that we can use going forward for our planning or other resources, even if we choose not to move forward. So why would a municipality consider compliance at all? If this is the elephant in the room. Why would we even entertain the possibility of having additional regulations on our development of land in Morris Plains, especially when you hear about towns like Jefferson, where Highlands preservation area restrictions have limited new development and commercial rateables, which is now straining their local tax base and school funding. So they're in the preservation area, so they don't get to opt out. We do. But there are several reasons to consider compliance. Now that's further down the road. We're right now just asking about the initial assessment. But just so you have the background of why we're even here, the primary reason is to preserve clean drinking water for future generations of Morris Plains residents. Secondly, preserving our green spaces, trees, and clean air that we all love in Morris Plains, which differentiates us from the concrete jungle. Access to the Highlands, this would also, compliance would provide us with access to Highlands Council grant programs, which is generally a non-competitive grant for complying municipalities. It's reimbursement based, so we would put the money forward and we would get reimbursed. And it requires no local match. So there are very few grants out there that require no local match. So that's a great opportunity. And I'll talk about some of the things we can use that money for. We also would have priority or favorable consideration for other grants and funding, such as open space grants, water resource and environmental infrastructure grants, smart growth, redevelopment and planning grants, trail and recreation planning grants, and forest management plan grants. So all the planning, a lot of the planning. Some examples of bigger projects funded by New Jersey Highlands in complying municipalities include Roxbury. They did a $112,000 river stream bank stabilization project, fully funded. Phillipsburg did a circulation plan, traffic circulation plan, $50,000. Byron Township, $112,000 for a park improvement project. So this relationship could also help fund initiatives that we're already pursuing or considering by providing technical and financial assistance for things like our municipal master plan reexaminations. That update costs us money. meetings, we hire a consultant or a planner to run those meetings. Our next update is due in 2028. We could also use the funding for the required climate change element of our next master plan update, which is actually required by the state, it's time to do it. Town center planning and design, stormwater and environmental studies and plans for some of our projects that are underway. If we needed environmental studies, for example, doing the trail grant for community park. I think we had to get some funding to do the DEP studies of wetlands that we might be going over or change it. So we could get their technical assistance with anything related to environmental studies. Green building initiatives and economic development planning. So these resources are expensive, and Highlands funding can significantly reduce the financial strain on small municipalities for those expenses. So in short, compliance would help us plan better. It would give us more planning resources. The Highlands Council also coordinates with sister state agencies on behalf of conforming municipalities, including the DEP, the Department of Community Affairs, Economic Development Authority, and infrastructure financing agencies. And also, finally, in any case, cause of action against a conforming government related to land use law in a lawsuit against the borough for a decision perhaps on a planning board case, the court would give extraordinary deference to the local government because we're conforming and place the burden of proof on the plaintiff to demonstrate by clear and convincing evidence that the action was arbitrary, capricious, and reasonable. So it gives us a little bit of legal teeth as well. So to wrap up, the initial assessment will help the borough determine what, if any, discrepancies exist between our current zoning master plan and the Highlands Regional Master Plan. And it would be conducted by a planner or consultant we select, usually our municipal planner. 2, there's no obligation to move forward after completing the initial assessment, and the borough would still be eligible for reimbursement of expenses related to the initial assessment, regardless of whether we move forward or not in compliance. If the borough, if the borough does become a conforming municipality later down the road, it can choose to withdraw from the plan conformance at any time, because for us it's optional. The majority of the borough is in the existing community zone of the Highlands land use map, meaning any resources or restrictions or protections would be limited. So I wanted to just give you guys the background, explain what this would provide for us if we went forward with the assessment, and find out if the council has any questions or comments.
Mentally unpack that one.
Yeah.
We had a speed.
I sent it out, so I don't know if anybody looked at it, but.
That was a lot, but I appreciate it. So just to kind of summarize, right, if I can, right, based on the notes that I took. So
You couldn't make that.
I tried. The compliance with the Highlands Master Plan is optional for most plans, right? But doing the initial assessment, which is what you're talking about tonight, is fully reimbursed by the Highlands Council, right? And it's done it can be done by our planner. And the point of the initial assessment is this is where I couldn't write fast enough, but I believe you said it was to determine the discrepancies in our zoning. Is that the correct understanding, or is there more to that?
Is that in our master plan? What is the master plan from the Highlands require that we currently don't require? What are the differences? What would we have to do to actually be a conforming municipality? And I think you might be able to speak to this, Bill. You've probably seen this as well, right? With some towns working.
Mountain Lakes, as you mentioned, they opted in just recently.
Yeah.
You know, it was the same process you described, the initial assessment and the presentation to council and so forth. And the council decided it was beneficial to do that. So far, it's the, it doesn't affect me day to day in what we do, but it affects land development. Mountain Lakes has very little development. Really about big prospects, but they're availing themselves of the grant monies for small studies. And everybody was reassured that the crowd that was one of the big pushes to get it over.
And I think to Mr. Ryan's point there, I think that was kind of a key believe you said it gives us preference in some of these grants, right? So, yeah, to me, I mean, that seems like a good thing. So, yeah, I'm glad I summarized it.
Yeah, sorry, I was bad. I didn't want to be here all night.
I just have one question. And I don't even know if this is allowed, but has anyone on this committee talked to other towns and said, how did it go? Were there pros and cons? Do we have relationships with other municipalities where we could get that insider information before we do something like this?
Yeah, I have colleagues in other municipalities, Parsippany and Bender Township recently adopted this as well, who directly told me that they were involved with the discussions and community outreach to make sure people understood what they were doing. Now, different municipalities have different situations. In Bender Township, they don't have sewers, they have septics. So for them, it's harder for a developer to come in and do a big project because they have to put in sewer that don't currently exist. For us, we have a system, so it's a little different. Every town has a different situation. And these reports, I've gotten copies of 2 assessment reports. They're very lengthy and detailed and really give you a lot of information about the resources that you do have in your community and why they're worth protecting and how they impact the overall water resources of New Jersey. So it's kind of an interesting map of what a small community can do to impact or not impact the overall.
Great, thank you.
I have some concerns about maybe not the initial assessment, but moving forward with this, especially when you see the school. Some of these things that are involved. I wouldn't want to jeopardize the school one bit here. I know there's bills now in front of the Senate and the Assembly. See how that one plays out. Impact the schools. I mean, grants are great, but the schools, really impact schools. That's a big thing. Just some of the economic disadvantages. I think our, like you said, our land is limited right now. Now, those are just some of the concerns. We have to ask those questions. Forward. We know that would, to me, that would weigh heavily on switch. Even though you can opt out, maybe too late. So, ask these questions and decide that would be pretty bad, some negative. But we'll see what happens.
So when you say economic disadvantages, you're talking about what?
Just future building, we're doing stuff, everybody wants expansion. And you can't do that expansion.
Right.
So just keep it back there.
I'm hoping that we can opt out of the time when you said about being too late. I don't know that would be an issue, but we should certainly have.
If somebody is looking to come in, right,
Right.
might be too late, right? So.
All these
Serious
questions.
things to consider. Mr. Mayor, just real quick, when you said, you mentioned something about the schools and how they negatively impact the schools. Can you expand on that a little bit?
The school funding formula is negatively impacting these towns that are in the Highlands. That's part of one of the problems that Jefferson had. I don't know the exact number, millions of dollars worth of school funding that now the residents are gonna have to pick up. So if you look at what's going around the state, Morris County and stuff, you see these school funding problems and towns that are in the Highlands are having some.
So I guess maybe
Maybe
it's,
also the mayor, just to get this, some are happy with it, but that's towns that have a lot of work. They're mountain lake state, there's a lot of undeveloped property, right? So it may benefit them. When you develop as much as we are, 90%, right? Maybe it's not being as advantage to us to be in this. It may be different.
yeah, I think I'd like to maybe understand that a little bit better, not necessarily now, but, I'm not understanding how this would negatively impact the schools. I'm not looking for an answer from you, but it's just something that I'm looking at.
Yeah, we'll do
Okay,
I can share some info about what's going on in Jersey.
sure, okay.
But that's a preservation area, they
Yeah,
can
it's a little.
and they're very constrained with developing large, big parcels because they're protected by the forest.
Yeah, it's certainly not apples to apples, but.
Yeah.
Something you have to.
Would this be affecting like community park and the goats? My favorite thing.
No, it's development.
Just development, incoming development. I love the goats.
And it may be even if you have a zoning change, right? You go from commercial to residential or vice versa somewhere.
Okay.
Things you gotta ask, keep in the back.
Right, so I think that the study would tell us that it would give us an actual map and block and lot number of a place in Morris Plains where they would say, you absolutely cannot develop this lot for anything commercial, residential, it would specify, because it's on a steep slope of such and such a degree, and it has, it's got a tree canopy of this kind of amount, and therefore it has to be protected. So it would spell all that out, and that, I think, we would be able to make educated choices about whether this is something we want to preserve for prosperity, or if we feel it's more important to have variables. I think those are decisions that we're gonna have to make in the next 5 years, so this information to me is something that we can use to help us make those decisions that are not.
Just going through all the affordable and building up the affordable stuff, all the box, right? The reserved land that we already had, right? Most of that stuff is already, I'll say, preserved, right? But yeah, things we gotta think about.
So if everybody's comfortable with getting an assessment, to me, it's risk free. I think that it's good information that we can digest, ask good questions, and then, get reimbursed for, and I can have a resolution for the next meeting.
Great.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Anybody need any other information?
Thank you.
A couple things that I do have is, everybody got an email about the campus shop on the morning coming to town. They already have a date in the ordinance that does not permit that. And if the council desires to changing that ordinance or not. Will be an answer to the gentleman or not.
It's kind of been on my mind, and I've had a couple of residents ask me if we would reconsider, what we decided in the 2021. When we had, when it was legalized and had to make a decision about cannabis businesses. And I think it might be time now, it's 5 years later, to look at the market, because at the time we thought that the market was too unsettled, too risky to go in, to be an early adopter on some of these businesses when we didn't know how it was gonna shake out financially for the communities, for the businesses themselves, because the illegal market was still so strong, taxes were too high, and these businesses were competing with a very strong legal market. So I think we were waiting to see how things would shake out, and also security concerns and how those, were taking place around the communities that were early adopters. I think it's worth looking at it again, is for some of these business uses, maybe not all of them, but, I think it really went well the way we did it last time, having like a advisory board of representatives from different parts of the community and professionals exploring that and reporting back on whether it's something that we're missing out on now. I think we should update it. Or you just want to go away.
No, I don't, I would have municipal alliance here that
Yeah.
preaches, that's my opinion. I don't think it would be a good fit for our place.
It also like a dozen now, like that, before you had to go to where Fairfield, now there's one in Morristown, Rockaway, not like that.
I do this,
But they're close.
yeah, I mean, I do, and Mike knows as well, I do seminars, whatever you want to call it, with Pam McDonald, who does this in air driving and everything else, who's a big part of drugs, right? Yeah, just my opinion. Whatever.
Yeah, and see, at think, to your point, right, the laws have kind of gotten tighter, right, a bit about it. We have more education about it. You know, obviously, I think I share the mayor's concern about, you know, safety and all that, right? But there's, everybody does, of course, we all do. But there's also, I believe there's also an economic benefit, right, to some towns as well. Where I know we kind of follow what's going on in Morristown, and what they're doing. So, I mean, I think, I'm not saying yes or no, but I do think it's worth the discussion. So, I agree.
I think it belongs possibly in the right places within town. I don't think it belongs on a butcher block, but I think it would belong in one of the big mixed use areas like Coles or like
I'm kind of with the mayor on this one. Being a former school counselor, drugs are a huge problem with vaping in schools, and it makes me really nervous as a parent and as someone from the town to bring something like that in. But I'm always open to having my mind changed, so maybe a discussion could be worth it. But it does make me nervous, and it's a huge problem over at Morristown in the high school and then the middle school right now. So I think it's something to really consider on the mayor's side.
Think about it. Not Scott, but too. Like what we have seems to be fine. And, you know, it's working, what we have now. It just seems like if there's an opportunity, not just this particular person emailing us, it's always worth exploring an opportunity and seeing if it's something that we want to do or not. I'm fine with it.
I have, right now, other things, gonna have to place affordable housing liaison, as part of our settlement, fair share housing. So, and the raise, I was kicking around a couple of different ideas, but that will become probably the next one. I'll let everybody kind of know where we are. It's something that we've had before, and it's just, it's not a heavy lift, but there are classes now. We have classes that they have to like the state requirement. More to come on that, but that will be coming soon.
Is that a, sorry, Mr. Mayor, is that that's something that full-time staff member has to, full-time employee?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think the current
Employee, correct, okay, thank you.
like I said, we had that before. The other thing is, we're gonna come to a bigger decision hopefully tonight, about moving people. Right now we have part-timers, and, we have camp coming up, and, you know, community center, kids center, all that baseball, right? And we've kind of been living this alone, and now we're able to move forward on either, you know, two part-time people or another full-time person that we have before, and, you know, being able to post that and get somebody on board here relatively fast. It's kind of a spring, this just happened yesterday. Take this on. Anybody has any ideas? For a full-time person? I would, specific hours and
Have we done two part-time previously?
I have not done two part-time recently. Oh, no, I'm sorry, you're right, yes.
But not two?
Two, yeah.
Oh, you have done two people.
One person will, it's really quite that, I don't know.
That's what my question was.
Someone who wants to just shoot her. Yeah, okay.
I mean, we could, whatever we could try to, I don't know,
Could we assign them specifically to each building, so like, to make that a little bit easier, so.
So,
We had a
Yeah,
full-time
the
person
two
do
people,
it.
we have one person that did
It's not gonna have two people, right, the full-time person. One full-time person or two part-time.
Is there room for 2 cents for somebody who's in the building more than they're in their own home?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
So the concern, especially when you're running a 24/7 operation downstairs that has constantly, cleaning needs, garbage needs and stuff, is that we hire one full-time person, we run into the issue when that person wants to go on vacation for 2 weeks, or the previous employee that wanted to go out of the country for several weeks, we have no backup. So the burden falls upon myself. I do toilets, I do garbage, I do things to make the operation run, and then go upstairs does the same thing. So there's opportunity, and I don't know what the financial difference is, but the impact on our staff upstairs and primarily downstairs as well, when we're 24/7 operation, nights, weekends, holidays, the whole thing, to not have some, there's an opportunity here to investigate like a service that we can verify, multiple people and have one full-time dedicated person. I don't know what that final financial impact is, but we have a backup through a service. That way, when Mrs. Jones is out, Mr. Smith can fill in while that person's away and unavailable. So, again, we don't mind doing it downstairs, but
Yeah, to your point, and this is, I think, what we need a list of, we have to do this again, right? This is to get somebody here now.
Right.
But we do need, standby people, right? Some of that does happen. Even if that's, two part-time people, so we need backup. We have the backup.
The person we have now is a sub, so we could probably continue as a sub.
He's just out.
He's out,
So he's still.
but he's only doing over here. He's only doing.
and he's frequently, he's not here certain days of the week, so we get the emails from groceries
Yeah,
saying,
he's,
they're responsible for garbage and toilets this week.
Sorry.
Right, he's not here Wednesday, Friday, and especially on the weekend, when the garbage piles up on Friday, it's like, all right, now
So we had,
we're staff that he's in, so.
so we need substitutes regardless of how we get this to part-time. We still need some. How we look right now in the report. Two.
I'd say two, but.
Two. But to Chief's point, is there not a service that we just hire that service and then they just,
Probably not, probably would have to go for, it's over 17,000.
You can have a service, I don't think that we would have to do it anyway.
No, yeah, but they were paid, so the bids keep going lower and lower and lower until there's nothing left.
Right, sure.
That person can work for the service, but you're not hiring the service. Have you looked at it, like what other municipalities are doing in terms of services? Like, are like more staff, I can't imagine they just have like 3 full-time guys or however many it is. I would imagine it's at that size, probably was using the service. Have you looked at any of that? Being on the inside over there? Sure.
They have.
They did house people. Okay. And they're all full-time, but, so they don't use the service, but do we know if other towns do that?
I don't know of any other town that uses this service.
Again, you're getting into higher cost then. Right, higher cost, but to Chief's point, right, it means we have the security, I'll say, always having somebody available. So.
Yeah, but when it goes to the lowest bidder, right?
Sure.
You guys can do what you want, talk from experience, it was a disaster.
Yeah, but how many years ago was that?
I'm just talking from experience.
Could be 2 years or 10 years, it doesn't matter, it was a disaster, but we could try it if you guys want, so we try it. I guess my point is that if
it was recent and, you know, maybe we don't look at that company again, but if this was 10 years ago.
A while till they were bringing the bullet, we had to pay for,
Yeah.
it was kind of like,
So it was a bad experience with that particular service.
like, it was
No, it was every year, whatever the contract was, we have to rebid, and it would go up. It would go up, and we had services for years, right? And then it just got to the point where it wasn't what happened in the year, yeah. Do everything. That really wasn't,
So look into it, like, they said it was above a certain threshold.
the point is,
But we
that's
didn't
gonna take time and you could draw up specs and do all that. I mean, this is pretty critical right now because we have camp, you have baseball, and you have one cleaning service. You're using one temporary and you're using a part-time person.
Sure. And I'm
So
all
to
for.
take 2 months to try to find a cleaning person.
Sure, I'm all for getting, I think the council was leaning toward 2 part-time people in here for now, but I think to Mr. Bruce's point, right, we look at service, right, as a longer term solution, right, so that would be my suggestion. And I think that's what you're saying.
I said, Bill's moving, right? They'll be looking 9 years later and say, oh, yeah, we did 9 years ago. It's repeatable.
Yes, sir.
I would love to pull the staff too, because they've all done that and what they have to say. I just am nervous because this has been how many times you guys have we had to rehire cleaning service in the last 5 years. So it sounds like it's not working and, you know, staff shouldn't have to be cleaning toilets. So I just want to make sure it's done. We get the right people instead of constant turnover. It's,
Buildings and grounds, Kelly, so
it's,
guess what? Get somebody by next week and you're.
yeah, everybody watching, let me know.
As an employee, I will let you know, the people come in and they're wonderful. And then after 2, 3, 4 weeks,
Right.
they don't do anything. And then we're cleaning up anyway.
There's not much of a, there's not much oversight, with like a BA or somebody that they kind of like get a little lackadaisical.
Right.
It doesn't matter. No, I'm just saying, somebody really kind of oversee. Right, yeah, I'm just saying.
Oh, so I get to be in charge.
Yes.
We'll see how it goes now. Okay, I'm on it. Let's do it. Team,
We'll need to have a little,
say two.
some sort of a resolution here tonight.
Just put it on. Add it.
Okay, that's,
And Councilman Brew moves the regular executive minutes of May 7th, 2026.
Is there a second? Second. Ms. Berger, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? The ayes have it. Approval of consent agenda.
The reports, these are all for April 2026. Borough clerk, animal licensing, building inspector, sanitary, and tax collector. Resolution 2026-70, entitled Resolution of Support for LGBTQ+ Pride Month. Resolution 2026-71, entitled Annual Report of Audit for the year of 2025. Have received quotes for rides at 2026 block dance from the following vendors. Party Perfect Rental LLC, $4,006.25. Any Excuse for a Party, Inc., for $4,450.00. And Party Time Rentals for $3,645.00. That a purchase order be issued to Party Time Rental, 25 Andrew Drive, in Brooklyn Park, New Jersey, in the amount of $3,645.00. Cheryl was the 6th Bedford Drive, be granted permission to serve alcoholic beverages at a graduation party on July 11th, 2026, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Beauty Park Pavilion. The Friendly Sons of St. Patrick be granted permission to serve alcoholic beverages at a family picnic on June 14th, 2026, from 10 a.m. to dusk at Beauty Park Pavilion. The Education Foundation of North Plains be granted permission to hold a 5K race in the borough along the designated route on Sunday, October 25th, 2026, beginning at 8 a.m. With the police department to provide traffic control and notification, rave 2026 for the successful completion of introduction of electrical trains at Morris County School of Technology. Christian Bodak, truck driver in the Department of Public Works, we granted $300 increase in his base pay for rate May 19, 2026 for the successful completion of introduction of electrical trains at Morris County School of Technology. Have received public bids for contract 2026-02 for roadway improvements in Kowski Drive, Edwin Avenue, Davis Avenue, Juniper Drive, Sun Valley Way, and Laurel Street. That a contract be awarded to Keegan L. Paving Contractors, Inc. for the low bid of $477,755.92, subject to the borough attorney's review of the bid document. The borough treasurer, chief financial officer, be authorized to advertise the position of assistant treasurer.
You should, yes.
We have that.
Can we do a resolution?
Yeah, we can do that.
What's the title?
Just such is authorized to.
It's probably this one.
Yeah, but what's the title of it?
No, let's let him think about it and he'll do that. Just two things that I have. No, I know, just two things. Just with the salaries and everything for the, summer rec and the camps and stuff, I don't know if anybody kind of really did the math or not. Some of these have gone up quite a bit, 50%, 22%, some of them 100%. So it's, late, something that's gonna have to be looked at for next year. Everybody to keep an eye on next year moving forward, at least have a discussion about some of these increases.
So just to be clear, these aren't increases to anyone on taxpayer dollars, this has nothing to do with that. These are individual people who set these rates.
Yep.
So council doesn't really have any control of what they set it for.
No, I know, but I think that's gonna have to look for some of these things are gonna be, I'll say expensive, right?
But it's also set for the people, so if the people choose not to sign up and they say this is too expensive, then the program gets canceled. So it's no out of pocket to anybody if they choose not to participate.
No, I understand, but you wanna make it available to everybody. Take it. That's really my point.
Right. But I
You
will
gotta
say,
look at everybody, you know, some people don't all have the means to do some of these,
correct,
you know,
I will
eighties,
say,
hundreds, whatever they are, P 60, 85. So it's just something to look at for next year.
it is, and it's something to consider, but for the record, almost all of these classes have been sold out. There's waiting lists for 4 of them, and
That's not.
But-
I hear what you're saying.
yeah,
I hear you.
it's just, these are individual people, teachers who are doing things for the kids and they're setting their rates, and we haven't had any complaints from the recreation side, so it's just, yeah, and they extended the time a half hour and then they extended the days.
I get it.
Almost all of them, every single person did. I'm just trying to be supportive of the recreation department and all the efforts that they put forth for this. They have a pulse on the parents, and if they say that this is the rate that they think, I'm gonna feel like we should support that because they have the pulse of the town. Yeah.
Whatsoever. Something that has to be looked at. And then just the paving bid, that came in under what we expected, so that was a good thing. That we could sort of back to the school year.
What did we expect?
6 something.
Okay. They came out,
5 something.
497, we got 470.
no, it's just 20. It's doing it.
Excuse me.
Still, 20,000, yes.
Okay, just looking at that, Kelly, it says, pay rate includes all materials supplied for the class.
Yeah.
We also increased the rate, there's a rate that the town charges to come and use our facilities, and goes towards cleaning, goes towards all the other things. So once you raise that rate, then the teachers or the program people raise their rates.
That's like a $50 industry.
$50, yeah.
Well, I think to your point, right, if the pulse is with the parents and if these programs weren't sold out, then maybe the prices are too high, but I think you said that almost every single one of these programs is sold out, right?
Wait, that's-
Right, so, to me, that says that the rates are where they,
And I think if they didn't extend the days and the times, I think, that would be a bigger conversation. But now parents are allowed to send their kids from 8 to 2 to summer camp, where in the past it was 9 to 12. So I think, working parents especially really appreciate it. There are some on here that are really expensive. The 110 is also Somerset design is 5 hours. It's not just an hour and a half. But I will say I do agree with you, Mayor, that we should be careful with this. But at the same time, is what people are asking for. Recreation responded, and we went from 8 programs in recreation for parents and kids to 20 this year. So, and we're offering so many new services. Almost every single person who's teaching these classes has a master's degree in education. So how wonderful for our students to have that and our kids.
It's not 90-12 was rough when my son was there, and you have to get to the watching for the rest of the
Right.
afternoon, so, but you can sit in the labor class for 5 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Driver. Roll call, please.
Mr. Broom.
Yes.
Mr. Houston.
yes,
Mr. Ivy.
Yes.
Ms. Kulik.
Yes.
Mr. Pontier.
Yes.
Ms. Berlin.
Yes.
Okay, reports of committees and department heads. Thank you.
So the clerk's office has been working on updating, renewing ABC licenses, working on elections, personnel matters, OPRAs, farmers market vendors, marriage licenses and death certificates, parking permits, taxi license renewals, and food licensing and vending licenses. The website. I want to remind the people that when you have an event and you want it to go on the website, photos require a waiver. So if there's individuals who you want to show up on the borough website for some events or something, we require photo waivers for that, and you can inquire if it's not on the website, like by now, we'll get it up there until we set that up. So that's why we don't have as many photos on the website as we'd like. It's kind of a process. So I attended a webinar for small municipalities, small, less than 50,000 population. It was open to all over the United States about the new federal ADA requirements for online government content. It was sponsored by the National League of Cities and the Small Business Administration. And it was basically a listening session for us, municipalities, to provide feedback and questions. And everyone on the call agreed on the necessity and the intent to make information available to people with all types of abilities. However, it became clear on the call that small towns like Morris Plains do not have the tools or expertise to evaluate these technology solutions that will bring us into the required compliance. So one participant said, it feels like a gold rush. Some of these tech companies are rushing in to offer expensive solutions, and small towns don't have really the budget or the staff to verify that these solutions will even meet the requirements. So it became clear, I think, to the people collecting the feedback that more guidance and funding are needed for these proposed requirements. And right now, we have until April of 2028 to comply with our website. So we will have to continue to see if resources are provided to help us with this process. Finance, we worked on the audit that was prepared by our external auditor, Mr. Baccio, which we're voting on tonight. They also worked on the April tax collectors report and the capital ordinance you see tonight to appropriate funds for some of the capital projects that the mayor and council approved during our 2026 budget meeting. And at the budget meeting, Mayor Carr also raised the need for an additional full-time help in the finance office. at our budget meetings this year. So you'll see that assistant treasurer position advertised on the consent calendar. And we'll have that position advertised in the near future. The green team, the May issue of Morris Plains Energy Insights is posted. It talks about community solar. And Plains Talk May issue, the mailbox this week. It was a great job, I think, by the editor, Michelle Diamond. The deadline for the next items is July, the next issue is July 13th. And finally, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So if you or anyone you know needs suicide or mental health related crisis support or are worried about someone else, there's a hotline 988 you can call or text, or you could visit nationalsuicidepreventionlifeline.org to connect with a trained crisis counselor.
Public safety.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate you mentioning that about mental health month. Nancy, I actually had two close friends in my lifetime take their life. It's really, really hard to deal with. I think it could help. We've done something about it, so definitely a big topic. A happier note, good evening, everybody. As Chief Krasky had mentioned in the last meeting, he and Lieutenant Gill did the police unity tour in Washington, D.C. This is a 300-mile bike ride to honor the fallen officers from around the country. I'm extremely proud to know that they both went. Sounds like you did an excellent job. The only way I'd be able to do that is probably if you pulled me in a wagon or something like that. So, again, hats off. Gia Cello has started in the new role of the Chief's Executive Assistant and has been training with Segal. I stopped by one day this week. Everything seems to be going very well, and they seem to be working extremely smooth together. The vibe was high. They were having a good time. Spoke with both chief, both lieutenants, and a couple sergeants. Everyone seemed to be really happy with the progress so far, which is great, because that's going to be a big piece for them moving forward. As mentioned last week, fortunately, due to the county delay, we will not be able to roll out the CERT team for the Memorial Day Parade this year. They can potentially still help in some ways, and they still have been meeting, so it is still a thing. So again, if anyone is interested in being a part of the community emergency response team, you can sign up online. You can reach out to Chief Karaski, or you can reach out to Lieutenant Gill as well. They'd be happy to kind of guide you and show you the next steps. The department's geared up for a big day this Saturday for the Morris Plains Memorial Day Parade. They work extremely hard, along with all of our other first responders and public safety, to keep the borough safe on days like this Saturday. So again, just a big shout out to them. Thank you very much. I spoke with Council Members Berg on Ivy about some of their questions and concerns with the CGS advisory policy. I had some really great takeaways, and I'll be speaking with my co-chair, Jim Hunt, tomorrow on next steps and bringing it back to the council. We would like to try to get this on in the next month or two, but again, just really want to make sure we're doing it the right way, covering all of our bases, and that it's clear, understandable, and dare I say, enforceable, but that it will work once it is a policy. It's very complex, so again, just really taking the time to go over it. The PD should be receiving a new vehicle this week, from what I understand from the chief. Correct me if I'm wrong when he comes up. Today. Okay, great. It's in the lot. All right. So it's out there. You can go talk to it. Let's say hi, and maybe Chief will put the lights on for you. I also spoke with Councilman Houston and Chris Shea to continue discussions on the e-bike and scooter ordinance, mainly the lithium batteries. Don't want to steal Bill's steam, so I'll let him maybe go into more detail on that. Fire prevention, as always, Chris Shea, very busy inspecting. He's done about 90 inspection issues so far this month. He's still over a week to go. He's also been working with public safety and the council to order a new fire prevention vehicle, which we're proud to have approved this week. Fire department averaging about 1 call per day. Chief Bellis told me that as of today, they're at 151 calls, which is fantastic. They're staying busy and keeping people safe. There's always parts being ordered and various training exercises happening. Our newest firefighter, Kevin Holst, starting on June 1st, will do a 5-week, 5-day-a-week firefighter 1 course as well. And the new mini pumper is still not ready, but they are making progress. We are waiting for the actual pumper itself to be delivered. We do not have a delivery date yet. I've been saying maybe soon for a long time.
How about we wait until we get it?
I just like to keep people excited about it. So, but it's coming, ladies and gentlemen. It is coming. On the court front, I actually plan to meet with the court administrator, Melissa Aponte, next week to check in, see if there's questions, concerns, and see just how I can be of help with everything in the future. And we we do tonight have the resolution on for the additions and renovations to the police department and the municipal building here. So we are excited to be able to discuss that, and again, are asking for the support of the public. That's it for me, and Chief, if you want to jump in.
Maybe yes, as Tyler mentioned, Gia started 2 weeks ago, and she's doing quite well in our onboarding process. She fits in well great with our staff, and she has dumping as much knowledge as she can before the year into just about 2 months worth of training. Clicker ticket is upon us. We're doing some added state-funded overtime enforcement, so please buckle up. Wearing seatbelts does reduce fatalities, injuries, and crashes, so please families, friends, fellow employees, buckle up. New car two was delivered today, and besides a few small glitches that will be ready for the parade, that won't slow us down for it being in the car on Saturday. Sean, hopefully.
It always shines in Morris Plains, Mike.
That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Public Works.
I'll start out with thanking the ability to work through those 90-degree days, 90% humidity. So I know it's tough on a normal day, but those were some rough days. So appreciate their commitment to the community. They worked on town vehicles daily. They removed garbage from our parks. They started getting ready for our Memorial Day parade and our 100th anniversary parade. They started mulching at Robert Garden, getting all the curbs painted, just getting the town and the parade route looking as best as they can. They started hanging their hometown heroes, the members of residents who had served in the military on the Boulevard. They cut grass in parks and schools regularly. It's still growing with the little rain that we got. They'll be going around the brush next week, cutting prunes and trees throughout town. They do their sewer detailing, generators, and stuff like that. Appreciate that also. And then beautification is in full swing. Watering plants, installing mulch at various locations. Last time they shared plants from their home or other gardens and kind of spread it out throughout town, which saves the taxpayers some money. They had a spring cleanup at the town garden. There's walkways or pathways that they'll pull weeds and put mulch down. And then they sent out notices to gardeners. I'm going to receive one of those, make sure that they were committed to start weeding. So I did weed on Mother's Day, so I got off the naughty list.
I'm sure there's more weeds.
Yeah. But anyway, so there are residents on the waiting list that would like to be over there, so they just want to see the ones that haven't weeded, they're going to be using their plots. And that's all I have. That's over.
Right, thank you, Mayor. So, we approved our road project this evening, and just to reiterate, our bid came in about $20,000 under our estimate cost. So tomorrow I'll be sending out the contract award package and getting set up for pre-construction meeting. Hopefully pick that job off shortly after school. The other project styles, and I set up a pre-construction meeting for June 2nd. So once that's out of the way, start date, you can advise that job will be moving along quickly. Wrapped up before the end of December. And that's all I.
I have a question, what, you mentioned to me that there's other roads that the MUA is gonna pave this year,
Yeah, the word.
so do you get involved in this also?
Somewhat.
Okay, so they have their own engineers, you just kind of sign off on it,
So you have to watch the work that they do.
but there's gonna be like 4 additional.
Well,
spots.
yeah, it was 6.
6 additional?
Yeah.
That's a lot of paving in our sites.
So
Can
we're gonna try to
Maneuver that.
maneuver, that's a good word.
Who oversees that? Is there any way to have them pave with the same color that's already there? Why?
That's new, and the other, the lighter color is sea.
I don't think so, because Northview's been seasoned with that same color for 6 years, 7 years, and it's never changed. And I just think it's a really big eyesore for the town to have a dark color and then a light color.
All pavement is the same.
It's impossible. This
No, it is. You have to trust them.
My favorite page of the sites over time.
If it's oxidizing, depends on the neighborhood it's in, if it's shading, how much.
Northview's nice too, so.
It's home.
A little while.
Comes from this plan.
All roads
Grove, I mean, it is really an eyesore to walk, to drive past and just see two separate sides.
Like, I think what we're referring to is that in some instances, especially BSCG, they've done curb to midway, so you do have some of the older pavement and new pavement in some of the sections. So there are projects that in 25 years that I've been here, we haven't paved curb to curb, so you get that split down the middle of the roadway where it's the season on the one side and the fresh on the other. That's,
A lot of it was catch up. Public service or the water company does the road, they require to do the half road, they only work on one side, so we made it a point to go around and try to catch up as fast as we could. We did all the work the last 8 years to catch up on that road. So that's what you see. Moving forward, public buildings and grounds.
The Morris Plains Parade is this Saturday, May 23rd, starting at 9 a.m. at Robert's Garden. It ends at the VFW, where hot dogs, beverages, rides, and other activities will be made available by the hardworking parade committee. Please be aware that streets will be closed throughout the morning, so plan for extra travel time if you need to be anywhere. We are hoping for sunshine, but if rain persists, a decision regarding cancellation will be made by 6 a.m. on May 23rd. You will receive a rave alert and all town social media will be updated. Keep an eye out. Pool registration is still open and there's wonderful things planned for this season. Make sure to check out the website at morrisplainspool.com to see times and dates for all activities. Tennis courts are finally resurfaced and ready to be used. Keys are available for purchase at the community center for town taxpayers only. DMP, Downtown Morris Plains, launched a community-wide business wish list survey this week to collect information about what stakeholders would like to see in our town. Everyone is encouraged to share their opinions. DMP has also partnered with the Transitional Art Project, TAP, a partnership between the New Jersey State Council on the Arts and New Jersey Transit. TAP is a temporary public art program designed specifically for transportation hubs throughout New Jersey. Morris Plains train station has been selected for 2 art installations, and qualified artists are encouraged to submit concepts for consideration. The submission deadline is June 4th for anyone who's interested. You can learn more about both of these projects by visiting the DMP website or their socials. Farmers Market, opening day is Saturday, June 13th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The market will be open every Saturday except for 4th of July through October 10th. Follow the Farmers Market on Instagram at Farmers Market Morris Plains for special events, vendor updates, and more. Recreation update, summer camp is still open for registration. You can register online or in person at the community center. The senior picnic will be at the community center July 16th at 1 p.m. We hope all of our seniors can attend. Summer concerts at Robert Garden start July 5th from 6 to 8 p.m. Do not forget your lawn chair. Lastly, the Centennial Committee. Be sure to look for the special Centennial float designed and built by Conroy's Florist. They will be along the parade route and give them a big wave as they pass by. The committee is inviting businesses, students, and residents to help make history by suggesting or donating items for the community time capsule, which will be placed in Centennial Park for future generations to discover. In addition, plans are moving forward for Centennial Park itself with hopes of officially dedicating and opening the park this September. Everything I shared, which is a lot of information and dates, can be found in the latest issue of our wonderful Plains Talk. That's it. That was a lot.
Public health, sanitation, and sewer.
Thank you, Mayor. So it's hard to believe that the school year is coming to an end already. So Teen Center has been wrapping up all their events. They had a good meeting with all the parents of the rising 6th graders last week, and there will be a step-up night for those kids coming up in the next 2 weeks. They're also working on the next year's events in coordination with the borough school calendar. They were able to decomplete most, if not all, of the events this year, so that was much smoother. 2 parents are stepping down, so that leaves 4 open positions on the Teen Center board. We were making do this year with 2 missing, but now we're down 4. So we are actively searching for new parents to be on the board. So if you know anybody that might be a good fit, please let me know. For Board of Health, I think everyone saw that the positive skunk case of rabies was out there, but there hasn't been any other follow-on cases, so that was an isolated incident, so that's very good to hear. At the meeting, the Division of Public Health provided an update on their preparation for the FIFA World Cup next month, and those activities included coordinating public health emergency efforts between the New Jersey Department of Health, DEP, Office of Emergency Management, local EMS, local hospitals, and other local health departments to ensure proper interagency communication, evaluating staffing plans, increasing surveillance activities for monitoring communicable disease and foodborne illness, and reviewing, updating emergency response plans as related to the event. There was a fire at Uncle Giuseppe's, and they put it out with a fire extinguisher. I think it was in the bakery, and so the Board of Health was there to make sure that everything was clean and brought up to code before reopening the bakery, and everything was past satisfactory. So, but there was no lasting damage, and they stayed operational. And the Wellness Day is confirmed to be on October 10th, 2026 this year, so mark your calendar.
Ordinances and public. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's see, so, Nancy, thanks for, calling out, 98, right? I'm gonna just echo what the Pat was saying, I think, it's very important to, bring awareness to mental health. It's a big issue, so I appreciate you doing that. Just on public health, the pile that was over at, over on 202 McDonald's, that was, obviously taken away, it was last week. And, as far as I know from Bill O'Connor, there were no issues, to that, so we're okay over there for now, but, we'll see, we'll keep an eye on it, if anything else comes up. On ordinances, so, tonight, ordinance number 6-2026 is on first reading, just to kind of explain it to the public. Excuse me, this appropriates a total of $279,800 for various capital improvements, drawn from two funding sources. The first funding source is from the Capital Improvement Fund, which is $133,000. $68,000 of that is the purchase and installation of 6 Scott Safety SCBA carbon wrap cylinders and valve assemblies, plus 10 pages for the fire department. And $65,000 of that, $132,000, is for the purchase of a 2025 Ford Interceptor utility all-wheel drive vehicle for the fire prevention stuff. The second funding source is from the capital fund balance for $146,800, $96,800 of which is for police officer body-worn cameras, ALPR, automatic license plate readers, and 3 weapon transition upgrades for the police department. And then $50,000 of that is improvements to municipal lands and Southeast Park. So that's the ordinance that we're going to read here. Tyler mentioned it earlier, but I did meet with Tyler and Chief Grosky and Fire Marshal Shea. We were talking about the e-bike, draft ordinance. So what this would do is it would amend our current ordinance to regulate electric bicycles and scooters in conformance with new state law NJS 4834-A6235, which was signed on January 13th, 2026, which takes effect July 19th, 2026. Essentially, just very briefly, some of the things that we looked at were new device classifications, some helmet rules, specifically for e-scooters, how they can be correctly operated, whether they're on sidewalks or roads, if there's any commercial use in town. As Tyler mentioned already, we talked to Fire Marshal Shea about lithium-ion battery safety. We're actually thinking a little bit ahead with Madison took it to the extent of determining how you can sell those things, sell those batteries if the store comes into town. So we're being preemptive
plaintiff on that. And then enforcement. And I think it's worth mentioning that the chief is very aware that there's, an education period with the new law, right? So I think we talked about a 90-day education warning period, which would, educate the public about what this new law is. So I appreciate working with everybody on that. So my hope is we can wrap up that draft, and then I'd like to introduce it as an ordinance at the same time as the law that gets passed in July 19th. That way there's no confusion for the residents of Morris Plains. There's the state law, and then there's the Morris Plains ordinance, which fills in the gaps, and it's all one thing. So that's my intent there. The checklist ordinance that we've been working on, excuse me, just a reminder that there were some updates that came back from the Board of Adjustment attorney, so I need to fix those. And then we'll have the planning board look at it one more time, and then hopefully we can get that passed through. And then lastly, working with Ms. Berga on the tree ordinance. Currently, we have I'll call it a 2-page internal action plan that effectively flags that we're currently non-compliant with the NGDP MS4 stormwater permit. There's a number of gaps that we need to make up, and there's a couple of grant deadlines that we need to have the ordinance in place for in order to apply for that. So I think it's something that the Shade Tree Commission has been adamant about, and working on that as well. So that's my thing.
Okay, moving forward to public invitation for comment.
Frankly, we're easy to reply, change, make plans, plan. Thank you for all your service. The subject is open space. Last time we went to the easy day, it has to be updated. Is that true?
No, that's incorrect. That was updated, but probably in 2024, I think, or before affordable housing was, 24, 25.
Thank you. Are you all aware that we have a recreation easement around the pond over Johnson Road? There are picnic benches that are there on the pond.
It's become much more active since the Johnson Road has been over there. So I'm sure the public is aware of it.
I don't know our public, if we're certainly signature place residents. I'm not sure if you haven't been told to our population. The only place you can really get to, unless you go all the way up to here, or there, would be on Johnson Road. There used to be access to the path.
Particularly,
That taken away.
the fences during the path, just past the fence.
Get to the fence.
No, past the fence. You'll see it.
The last thing is it has to be named on that name.
It's the pond with no name.
That's right. You can have
There you go.
I think it does have a name.
Remember I said you would know, we would put a funny name.
Yeah, it's got a name, but what is it?
They made it up, like Richard III or something.
It does have a name though, but I can't.
Google, you must call them, because Google took it off.
I didn't like it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Okay, we're good. So anybody else?
Lee Connor, G Tower Hill Road. Just want to speak with people who are so interested in our town meetings, but can't be here in person. Thanks to all of you who are trying really hard to remember to speak into the mic. And just please try to keep that in mind. It's very hard to hear. But our wonderful volunteer is videoing, and people do want to hear it, so thank you.
Thanks, Lee. And I think that goes to what I was saying earlier in conference, right? That's why I'm pushing for the video. So thank you.
I'm gonna give stage speaking classes, where you don't need a microphone.
No problem with you, Tyler.
Okay, moving on, to anybody else? Seeing nobody, I'm moving on to introduction of board meeting.
Mr. Mayor. I, Councilmember Houston, introduce the following ordinance and read the same by title and move that it be passed on first reading. Ordinance number 6-2026, an ordinance to appropriate $133,000 from the capital improvement fund and $146,800 from capital fund balance, the various improvements in and by the borough of Morris Plains and the county of Morris, state of New Jersey. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Tyler. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bruin.
Yeah.
Mr. Houston.
Yes.
Mr. Ivy.
Yes.
Ms. Cooley.
Yes.
Mr. Puntier.
Yes.
Ms. Zerga.
Yes.
I, Councilmember Houston, offer the following resolution, whereas the above ordinance was introduced and read by title at this meeting on May 21st, 2026, and passed on the first reading. Now therefore be it resolved that at a meeting to be held on June 18th, 2026 at 7:30 p.m. prevailing time in the municipal building in the said borough, this council will further consider for second reading and final passage the said ordinance. And be it further resolved that the clerk of this borough, be and she, is hereby directed to publish and mail the proper notice therefore, including the ordinance, plus the ordinance on bulletin board in the municipal building, and to make copies available to members of the general public. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ivy, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained? And Mr. Houston went over the details of that ordinance in his report. Moving on, we have no ordinances on second reading, no unfinished business. We do have new business.
I'd like to read that the recreation sewer Hampton contract for 2026 season.
Is there a roll or a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. White, roll call please.
Mr. Bruin.
Yeah.
Mr. Houston.
Yes.
Mr. Ivy.
Yes.
Ms. Cooley.
Yes.
Mr. Puntier.
Abstain.
Ms. Zerga.
Yes.
Moving on to resolutions, we have two of them. Corinne?
So I would like to move a resolution that the borough is authorized to hire some part-time custodial building and maintenance individuals. And that the borough clerk or other appropriate borough employee is hereby authorized to advertise for and post notice of employment opportunities.
Before we do that, I'd just like to make a point, Mr. Mayor, that in the past, when we try to do things on the fly, you're a very staunch critic of us doing things on the fly. So I'm going to express the same criticism of doing this on the fly. I think that we need to take the appropriate amount of time. I understand that it's urgent, but in the past, that hasn't stopped us before from taking a step back and not making mistakes, as you said. So I just want to voice that opinion. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very fine, that's, but again, we just found out yesterday, we don't have another meeting until 3 weeks from now, right? To either post or put together a bid, and something with the old by the time we get everybody in place. We just don't have that time. I agree with you 100%. I don't like doing this at all, but we certainly do that.
And just for the record, next time we do something like that, I just want to have that on record that we've done that for this one, so we should be making all the other comments.
You can't do that because every circumstance is different than changing a light bulb in that way, right? So I think every circumstance is different.
Health and safety, because we're talking about kids over at the community center and camp, so I think this is urgent to get this done. So I agree with you, I don't like doing it, hence why I let it preach, and I wish you didn't have to do it under these circumstances.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bruin. Mr. Houston.
Abstain.
Mr. Ivy.
Yes.
Ms. Cooley.
Yes.
Mr. Puntier.
Yes.
Ms. Zerga.
Yes.
So that an abstain for what?
It's an abstention. For this resolution, Mr. Randall.
What do you abstain from?
You called for a vote.
Yeah.
So I abstained from voting.
It's not a no vote, that's,
I don't know, it's an abstention.
I just wanted to know.
Abstention? Last I checked.
Okay, moving on, we do have a resolution for the, possible municipal building addition. We did discuss this, for months now, and one question that is on the table is if it's a 1-story or 2-story, and then we could do the resolution. So we're on the third part, 1-story or 2-story, this here.
I'd like to do 2-story.
Two, I'd also just, I know that you don't vote, but I would like to hear what your thoughts are supporting the 1-story or 2-story.
You wanna listen to the.
Well, yeah, I just, yeah, everyone can vote, I'm interested to hear what everyone, has to say.
Two for future growth. Two.
Two.
It's two, and I agree 100% with two, and I hope this moves along so we can get a shovel in the ground here by spring next year. This is the direction that I would like to take when we started this a year and a half ago, whatever it was, but to put that out in public wasn't a bad idea. But I'm happy that the council is moving forward with two schools. It's going to give everything to the police department that it needs, maybe not everything that it wants, same with the fire department or everything else up here, but again, I think this allows for growth in the future and it takes care of some of our dire needs right now. My opinion, I think this is very good. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You can read this, public safety.
Just what's right here. Sure, resolution 2026-72, entitled Resolution Authorizing Paulus Sokolowski and Center Engineering, PS&S, to proceed with plans and specifications for the police department and municipal building addition.
Just for the record, that will be the 2-story version of that. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Houston, roll call please.
Mr. Grimm?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Ivy?
Yes.
Ms. Cooley?
Yes.
Mr. Pontier?
Yes.
Ms. Zerga?
Yes.
Fantastic. To make the phone call now, Mike, or you gonna wait till tomorrow?
Call them online. Thank you.
Moving on to vouchers, Ms. Bergen.
Thank you. I move that the checklist dated May 21st, 2026, in the amount of $504,664.51 be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Art, roll call please.
Mr. Grimm?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Abstain.
Mr. Ivy?
Yes.
Ms. Cooley?
Yes.
Mr. Pontier?
Yes.
Ms. Zerga?
Yes.
I agree in executive session, but you're welcome to stay. We will be returning. I'll tell you exactly when. But I mentioned it, make sure that you invite there for everybody to come to our parade.